everybody, Maria here. I am just kind of bringing you along for the ride for one of my latest commission pieces I did, which was for a nursery. My customer wanted something woodland themed. She wanted something to fit the theme of the nursery, but she let me have all the creative freedom. So I decided to do a kind of woodland origami whimsical type owl. And I usually, if I'm using any mirror, because this will be a mirror, I try to go to the thrift and really find some nice beautiful mirror. I was really lucky and I found this one, and it's perfect. I love to be able to recycle and reuse materials, and it's a lot cheaper than ordering regular mirrors. So if you can do this, I definitely suggest doing it. And usually you only have to peel off a little bit of the adhesive, like you see here. There was 6 points where it was glued onto the frame, and that's it. It just busts right off. And if it does peel up your mirror, that's fine, you just don't use the edges. So it's a great way to recycle, and the piece comes out very professional and beautiful. So if you can do it, I suggest just going to the thrift. So basically what I decided to do is an origami shaped woodland creature, the owl. And the way you can achieve this, it's actually very, very easy. One, you can always go online and search up origami, animals, and you can kind of trace those images, or you could get an image of a real owl and after you print it out, put some tracing paper over it. Then you would score a line down the middle of that image, or even just cut that, for instance this, I would just cut the owl's head in half, and then I would put some tracing paper on top of that, and I would just start drawing out all the main lines on the face. If you want a video of me doing it, it's super easy. You'd be amazed, because once you get your simple pattern on top of your animal, all you do is cut out the one template and you just flip it over, and that would be the other side. So that just guarantees you perfect symmetry. So, and you can do that with any image. If it's not an animal, with anything, you would just design half of it. And then, like I said, you flip that template over and you do the other half. So it's a really cool way to make something look very complicated, but it's actually very easy. And all you gotta make sure you do is mark your template, you know which one's the left and you know which one's the right. You don't wanna have, a bunch of right-sided jaws. It's just not gonna work out for you. Especially with mirror. It's okay if it's stained glass, because you can just flip it over. This mirror was actually very, very easy to cut. It was like the mirror gods were with me. But in this scenario, which I'm only going to explain because it's a perfect way with anything, I tried to cut a straight line. As you can see, I totally jacked that up and it goes way to the right at the top. So when you break the glass or the mirror, you do not want to do it on the edge that your line got all wonky. You want to do it to the edge that stays true to your cut as long as possible, and that would be the straighter edge. So if that happens, don't stress out, that you might fracture your whole template. You just make sure you slowly break it from the side that is not crooked. I really, really loved how this came out. I think I'm gonna do a special that's just you pick your animal and every animal will be the same price, because I really want to just make every animal. I would love to make things with horns and tusks and everything, so I might do a quick little special before Christmas starts where the customer can pick their animal, and regardless of what kind of animal or insect it is, it's all the same price no matter how many cuts I do. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So basically what I do is I just cut out the rest of my images and I get to foil and soldering. I basically just wanted to show you guys kind of some of the process of this. I'm glad I got to video a lot of it because I really wasn't planning on doing a video. So I just wanted to film it in case I loved how it came out. I I usually show my customers all sorts of like work in progress videos. I think it's a great way to kind of interact with the customers, and especially if it's something that they design or they pick out the colors or that type of thing. So they get to actually see how much work goes into something, you know, instead of just seeing a finished piece and being like, wow, how did you do that? So I usually try to film everything. I don't use everything for YouTube because, you know, I don't know if you want to just watch the video and listen to me talk, or if you want just how-to videos. So I have a lot of videos I just kind of keep to myself that I post on the Facebook page or the customers. But it's a lot of fun doing that, because if it comes out awesome, I love to be able to, you know, have that for myself. I love anything with like geometric shapes. It's very easy. It's, you know, curves obviously can be a pain in the butt, but it's very simple, like fast cuts, and that's what's cool about it. Is anything geometric, you see a lot of geometric pieces, it's, you know, usually you can really bust that out pretty fast. So it's a cool thing to do, and they usually look so complicated. They are so beautiful, anything like that. Now when you get into things that have curves, like mandalas, then, you know, shit gets real. So it's a little bit different, but it's still the kind of the same idea. Symmetry, that type of thing really makes a piece beautiful, but it does put a lot of pressure to make sure every piece is pretty much cut precisely. Of course, I want to make sure I mark all my templates, making sure it all fits together, and then I get into grinding. Now, grinding mirror is a little tricky. Some mirror, it's like, especially if you use recycled mirror, it can be kind of like a pain in the butt. It can pull up that mirrored foil underneath, so you really want to be careful when you grind. It's best to kind of get the cuts as perfect as you can, so there's not much grinding involved, because there's nothing worse than cutting out your whole piece and then having the mirror flake off and have to keep cutting new pieces. So make sure you just pay attention. The minute there is some leeway, you know, if it starts to rip up, your foil could very possibly cover that. So don't get discouraged if you see that, because you want to give into consideration that your foil will cover that mirror. So don't freak out just yet. And then you put it together like a puzzle, which is like my favorite part. So this is it all soldered. I love how it came out. I'm gonna patina it and apply some silicone to the back to make sure it's really like shatterproof. If, you know, it is going in like a playroom / nursery, so we want to make sure the little kid throws something at it and it breaks, it is not gonna smash everywhere. And a good way to do that is just applying simple silicone. I put some jump rings on its side. I was gonna initially make the chain showing, and I thought it would really kind of be a great accent to it. But I loved how this design came out, and I really didn't want anything to distract from it. So I moved my jump rings to the back where you can't see it. Very easy to move a jump ring if you don't want it. I mean, I had those jump rings on there overnight, and I just simply applied some flux in my solder iron and move them to the new place. So that's really cool thing about stained glass, is a lot of these things you can just simply fix and put where you want if you change your mind, which is really good for me because I change my mind a lot, especially when it comes to hanging stuff. Sometimes I want the chain to be in the open, and I want, you know, it to be hung from the sides, and sometimes I don't want the chain to be seen at all. And there they are. So you can kind of see where I put them, and the chain will fit on nicely. Alright, so I decided to patina this and make it a little bit antiqued. Now when you do patina a mirror, you want to be careful. Of course, I patinaed this copper because I'm obsessed, and I feel like it's like kind of a timeless look and a really classy and modern take to like stained glass, so I absolutely am obsessed. But you want to be careful when you patina your pieces when it comes to mirror. Now I used my patina very liberally. It will eat underneath a little bit, so it will actually take off or make it the mirror kind of cloud. So if you don't want that kind of antique look to it, make sure you just put on your copper lightly. And that's it. Here it is. I'm obsessed. I absolutely love it. I want them all over my house, and I want to make a bunch of them. It was so much fun, and it's such a big size. But yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good one. Thanks for calling.